best in you, the best in me. Oh, Johnny speaks wheeling in truth and heart with a brilliant grin. He tells a tale, helps us see the best in you, the best in me. Oh, Johnny speaks wheeling in truth and heart with a brilliant grin. He tells a tale, helps us see the best in you, the best in me. Oh, Johnny speaks wheeling in truth and heart with a brilliant grin. He tells a tale, helps us see the best in you, the best in me. Oh, Johnny speaks wheeling in truth and heart with a brilliant grin. He tells a tale, helps us see the best in you, the best in me. Oh, Johnny speaks wheeling in truth and heart with a brilliant grin. He tells a tale, helps us see the best in you, the best in me. Oh,
great ones! Welcome to Conversations with Champions. I am your host, Johnny Randolph. And great ones, for the Conversations of Champions, our motto is, we help you unleash your voice as a speaker and ignite your full potential. Today, we are in for a treat. We have a special episode. As you can see, we are going live. We have a special episode with International Director, Miss Jenny Lee Taylor. Jenny Lee, say hello to the people.
Hello, everyone. I am so excited to be here that we get to use technology to our advantage.
I know.
And redo this.
I know. We had what Jenny Lee's referred to in our prior episode. We had some technical. YouTube was being a little bit of a Grinch, so we had to reschedule this, but that's all right and fine. We're in for a great conversation tonight. Jenny Lee, I want the people to get to know you just a little bit better. So I've got a few either or questions for them to get a peek behind the magic. So first question, prepared speech or table topics?
Table topics, because even my prepared speeches are usually hip pocket speeches that just go a little long.
Okay, I like it. Evaluator or speaker?
Evaluator. Right. I love listening to someone else's story and helping them craft their message and find their voice.
I like it. Okay. A President's Distinguished Club, or let's say even this year, let's go further. A Smedley Distinguished Club or a great district conference?
Both. That is not an either or, because a great district conference is going to be filled with individuals from Smedley Distinguished Clubs.
I like it. Okay. All right. A perfectly delivered speech or a powerful message?
A powerful message. I will tell you that there are 3 speeches that everyone gives. The speech they want to give, the speech they give, and the speech they wish they would have given. And in their mind, none of those are ever going to be perfectly delivered.
Never.
And that's okay.
Yep. Well, it's okay because you feel like people are like, oh, it was great. And your mind, you're like, well, I forgot this line or I meant to do this. And you just play it over and over and over in your head. These are speaker troubles. Speaker trouble. All right. Being interviewed by Oprah Winfrey or Gayle King?
Wow. Can I be on a panel?
Can you?
Can I
Okay.
be on a panel?
Okay.
Because the two of them together are so authentic and connected, and the best friend vibes and the fun, energetic, just enthusiasm that comes and the laughter that would come from the two of them.
Well,
I'm not really good at either ors. I'm sorry.
okay. We'll let you. We'll let you hedge your bets. It's okay. It's okay.
Good.
TikTok or Facebook?
Facebook, usually TikTok at 1 a.m. when I don't sleep.
The
Facebook
scrolling,
for connection,
the doom
though.
scrolling sometimes. Yeah.
But Facebook for connection.
Yeah. I've been there. All right. A viral moment or a lasting legacy?
A lasting legacy, because a viral moment doesn't
It can come and
necessarily have
fade.
to be positive.
Yeah. And I feel like our generation, right? Like we would value that. I feel like younger generations, they like the viral moments. Like they just want to go viral for something. But I feel like you have to have some substance. It's one thing to go viral, but you have to have some substance for that. Otherwise, why am I listening to you or looking at you?
And I'm in marketing. And while that viral, that like count, but if I'm not connected to it, it's not going to last, and it's not going to be repeatable.
Absolutely. Okay. All right. Well, Miss Gina Lee Taylor. So for people, for Toastmasters or even not Toastmasters, tell me, what is an international director for Toastmasters?
Absolutely. So I am an international director for the organization. And what I do, I sit on the board of directors. I am one of several people from all over the world, and we set the tone, the strategy, and the direction of the organization. So we make the decisions that move the organization forward. We are looking at the years ahead and ensuring that the amazing organization that we have, the organization that has been here for the last 101 years, continues to exist for the next 100 years.
Right. Yep, absolutely. 101 years. That's amazing. So many changes have had to occur since Ralph Smedley, decided to go into a YMCA in California and teach people how to speak.
Teach young men how to speak.
I was going to say that. Yep. Teach young men about how to speak. Yep. And now we've got an international director right here, that's great. And even speaking has changed so much, right? We go 101 years ago, what, 1925? 1920?
And you have to
television wasn't even around then.
Right. Carrier pigeons.
Right. Like Harry Potter, they sent owls out to communicate with people. And imagine if you had a public speaker, people really didn't know. Like now we can go to YouTube, we can do a little research on that person. We may have seen them. Like back then, you probably never saw that person. You heard reputation, word of mouth that this person was somebody that was good.
Right. Think about the presidential campaigns that happened by railroad, and they would go town to town to town, off the back of railroad cars. And now, speaking of viral moments, we have TikTok. We have that instantaneous moment where things are happening at the speed of sound, the speed of light, the speed of TikTok.
Right. And we can correct this so fast, but like imagine if something is said wrong and it gets out, how long it takes to get a correction on something that was like minor.
And
people
once
just
it's
interpret it
there,
a different way. Yeah.
Once it's there, and things can be cut and sliced and taken out of context. And now with AI, sometimes it is hard to tell what is real, what is authentic, what is genuine, and what is computer generated.
Right. And sometimes I see things and I say to myself, I hope that that's AI, because why would anybody say anything that
I
way.
mean, I've seen videos of ice cream machines that kittens come out of. That
Well,
is
yeah, right.
obviously AI. Got it. But there are videos that I have seen of individuals speaking, sharing messages,
Mhm.
and it is harder to tell.
Right. So, Jenny Lee, the international director role, it's
Yes.
a leadership role.
It is.
Yeah, and leadership to me is one of those abstract terms. And I say that because, yes, it has a formal definition. You can go to Webster's or the Oxford Dictionary, but to every single person that hears the word, they have their own interpretation of what successful leadership looks like, or even poor leadership looks like. Tell us, what is your leadership style and some real world instances of how you've implemented your interpretation of what that leadership style is?
I would like to believe, and sometimes I have to teach myself and reteach myself, that my leadership style is situational.
Mm.
I know that every person I interact with needs something different, and they're coming in at different levels, at different skills. And that
Okay.
means that from me, they are going to need different levels of support.
Okay.
I can't be the same leader
For
to
everybody.
every single person.
Mhm.
You know, I used to manage hotels, and I could have two individuals that were both in my housekeeping department.
Mhm.
One housekeeper could have been absolutely on top of their game, had everything down. Their time to clean a room could be 10 to 15 minutes. Everything could have been spotless. Another person that maybe needed a picture of the room to know exactly what everything looked like, to know exactly how to do everything. And that person probably needed a little bit more attention, a little more hand holding, a little more one on one time.
Mhm.
If I would have given the same type of leadership to the person who was spot on, they would have felt like I was micromanaging.
Right.
But to my second person, it felt like support to them. So micromanagement to one feels like support to another. But if I gave the same type of leadership to person B that I gave to person A, they would feel lost and like, why is no one paying attention to me? And they would have been, you know, stranded.
Right. And I feel that's fair, right? Because I've had bosses who are like, I don't need you coming to ask me
Right.
how something's going. And
Right.
to
Why
me,
don't you trust me to do
Right,
my job?
exactly.
You hired me.
It's offensive for you to even come, and I know you're not endeavoring to offend me. You're just looking to provide support. But in my mind, as like a subject matter expert, I'm saying,
Yeah.
I'm not the one you need to do that with. And I'm not saying you need to do it with other people. You just don't need to do it with me.
But there are also tasks that, you know, I could be a rock star, but then there's one task that I might need a little extra support on.
Mhm.
So situational leadership also means knowing that there are going to be days or tasks or items that I'm going to have to shift and adjust for that person on that one item or that one task. And that people are going to ebb and flow, and they're not going to remain constant in all of their needs all of the time.
Absolutely. Yep. I completely get that. Now, leadership, but again, leadership is a interesting abstract to myself. Right. Like, you're smart, you know, you're a member of Mensa, you've had accomplishments. You could probably earn a good living and be fine just being an individual contributor, right? You can show up to your club meetings, you can come to conferences, leave, do those things. You could just be a person just online that says what you want to see out of Toastmasters. But you chose leadership, right? Why would you choose leadership?
I think for me, I never wanted to be the person to say, oh, things could be different.
Mm,
Things could change. I never wanted to be the person that complained about something and didn't have a hand in making those changes.
mm.
And
Okay.
that's why I stepped forward to always saying yes to the
It's
next opportunity.
right. It's kind of the old Teddy Roosevelt quote, and I'll paraphrase it. Like he says, people who don't join the arena, right, have no right to judge what the people in the arena are doing.
Right. Brene
So,
Brown uses that quote all of the time in her Dare to
okay.
Lead
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
series, in her Dare to
Teddy
Lead book.
Roosevelt. Yeah. Teddy.
Yeah,
I've
but
never read one of her.
she took it from
Yeah,
Brene Brown.
I've never read one of her books. Somebody recommended me one. I've got to check one of her out. We did a podcast a couple of months ago, and we did our top 5 favorite speakers. And my co-host, she was on her list, and she's like, "Yeah, you got to check out one of her books." So I got to check out one of her books.
Mhm.
Okay.
She is one of the I this is a topic that divides people greatly. And that is, do you listen to audiobooks or can you only read tangible books? And I'm a tangible book person. I cannot, because in my mind, how the person is reading the book does not make sense to me, even if it is their own book. I'm like, you are reading it wrong. Stop it. But with that being said, Brene Brown is one of the individuals that I can listen to her read her own books, and I'm okay with it.
Okay. And I've had that debate too. There's certain books, just due to the nature of the content, I want to read. And then there are ones where I was like, oh, well, I enjoyed that, but I can listen to this as an audio book. So I go back and forth. It was one year I did my Audible subscription was amazing. I was just knocking out books like boom, boom. I was like, I'm smart. I've read all of these books and it was amazing. So Audible has changed my relationship with audio books. Cause before I used to just have to go to the library and I would only do it check out something of that nature. But when I got an Audible subscription, I was just could knock them out back to back. I was like, this is great. This is wonderful.
My Amazon delivery individuals are not a fan of me because I can only have the tangible books.
Do you like reading audible book? Listen to it though.
No, I have to have the book, and I can't do it on a Kindle. I don't know, because I like to make notes and I like to highlight. I have erasable highlighters.
Right.
That are matched with the color of my erasable pens.
From that perspective, yes, there's nothing like it. But there's certain books, like if you're into maybe fantasy or sci-fi, I don't know if you're into any of those, like those things. There are some amazing
True crime is my guilty pleasure.
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
The audio versions create an experience. I mean, they create an experience, like the music and it's just so great. So sometimes it's like, if you can't see it as a movie, listening to the audiobook creates such an experience. I just love it. So some of them I'm going to recommend. Now I'm going to get back. So what are some of the challenges you find from being a leader, and how do you work to surmount them?
Another lesson that I had to learn, and maybe it's because I'm an only child. Maybe it's because I'm an only child. It's really difficult when you make decisions that are not the popular decision.
Mm.
And it happened all the time when I managed hotels. It happens all the time in my day job too, where a decision is made and announced, and maybe all of the details, like the nitty-gritty details behind why the decision was made, can't be shared. And that's the difference between transparency and confidentiality. Not all of the details can be shared, but the greater decision can be shared, and some of the details can be shared, but it's maybe not a popular opinion, or some individuals feel it's not the right direction, because you're never going to be able to make everyone happy.
Right.
I'm not ice cream. And people are going to speak out about it. And it's the fine line of being there to be a sounding board and to listen and to make sure people are heard and to know deep down that you made the best decision for the organization, for the hotel, for the workplace, and to stay strong in the fact that not everybody is going to like the decision. They may take it out on you. They may be emotional in the moment, and to still be okay with that.
Yeah. How then do you, or I should ask first, do you have that moment where you just want to say, because you feel you're doing the right thing, you may have data support the right thing, you may have had instructions about this is the right thing, but it just doesn't land with the people you're supporting or within that organization. Do you ever have those moments where you just kind of want to throw your hands up and just like, you know what? I'm fed up. I don't want to do it anymore, or I don't want to be in this role anymore. And if you do, how do you get past that moment?
Luckily, I haven't had it in this role, which is good. That's good. I have had it in previous jobs that I've been in, and it gets tough, honestly. But it's having a sounding board. Always up or sideways, never down. Never vent down. So I would never vent to my team members, my employees. I would always have a colleague or a superior that I would have those conversations with. Luckily, I have a very supportive, encouraging, kind, level-headed engineer of a husband who I can take those conversations to as well. And when I am talking through and out and around those emotions, he is that level-headed person that lets me talk through them. But it's having those sounding boards that you can say
that community, a sense of community,
is where I am.
Right? Yep. Of people that can support you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And sometimes it means you're not in the right place. There were times that I was in a work environment where it was not a good ethical, emotional fit. And that's when I knew it was time to leave. But it took a while to get to that point.
Yeah. And I like what you just said, because a lot of times you think of your leaders as always having the right answers, or they're always the smartest people in the room, or even they're always, I want to say they're always the strong ones, right? And so when things are said, right, you're human, and you feel like you're doing the right thing. And for you saying that you gravitate, or you have to have a sense of community, you can't just do it alone. I think that's something that's really smart, or not as much discussed about being in leadership positions.
And I think one of the strongest things you can do as a leader is be able to say, I don't know yet. We don't have the answer yet, but we will. Let's get there together. Let's figure this out. When I started managing hotels, I walked in on the first day thinking that I had to have all of the answers, or people weren't going to trust.
And that's common amongst leaders, right? We feel like if we say no, then all the people who we manage or lead, they're going to think we're stupid.
Right. And it's the furthest thing from the truth.
Right.
Furthest thing from
it is, because they actually want to understand, like, I'm nervous about this. I want to understand, like, that they share my sense of urgency, but we're not going to stop there. We're going to find answers, and we can do this together.
Correct. Yeah. And it's that authenticity of I struggle to, guess what? I have messed up plenty of times. I have been wrong. Doesn't happen very often, but I have. And it's being real. It is being real that gets people to trust you and to open up and to be authentic in return.
Yep. And if you think about it, right, because that's what we expect for the people that we lead. Like, you be honest with me. If I come to you and you tell me everything is great and it's not great, then we find out on the back end that it was never great to begin with, right? Like, and then you ask yourself, like, why didn't you just tell me? Like, we could have saved ourselves a lot of heartache. So it's that mutual authenticity for both parties.
Exactly.
Yeah, I completely see that. Well, so let's say you come into a situation and they say, fix this, Jenny Lee Taylor, international director or marketing executive. How do you develop a system or a process to go about understanding the problem or just fixing the problem?
When I was in hotel operations, my specialty was taking hotels that were underperforming and turning them around. And at first, my tactic was to go in and just flip everything upside down, take everything, throw it out the window, and start fresh. Because obviously, as a beginning manager, my ideas were the best ideas, and everything that they were doing before was absolutely wrong.
Because I'm the smart one, right? That's why you hired me.
Correct. That is not the case. I learned very quickly, let me tell you. I learned because I walked in on 2 employees talking about me and what a horrible manager I was.
Oh.
I learned to listen. I learned to define the problem. I learned to figure out that not everything is going to be wrong in what is going on.
Mm-hmm.
You have to define what the expected outcome is. Sometimes work backwards, but sometimes keeping parts of what is currently happening, then recreating some of what is currently happening, and then starting fresh with some of it too. Yeah. But not throwing everything out, starting fresh, all of it, flipping tables, starting over.
I think that's where you come into place. Like, so leadership, no great leader succeeds without great people, and that's just a matter of fact. I don't care how smart you are, how talented you are. You can't be a leader and not succeed without great people. And listening to the people, right, who may have done it longer or have more interfacing, it's like, oh, okay, this part works, but I have to also balance this with what's the new vision that we have to succeed, because there's a gap between what was done right or what was done currently and where we are. Because if it was working right, we wouldn't be here trying to fix it. But we can leverage expertise and experience from the people that are around us.
Right. So let's take a club in Toastmasters. Maybe it's struggling a little bit to get members. Maybe it's just lost its spark a little bit. Try running a Moments of Truth program. Now, I know some people are like, what's Moments of Truth? I don't know. I've never heard of that. Moments of Truth.
It's a great tool.
It is, but it is underutilized. And even when it is utilized, not always is it done correctly. And I'll tell you, I have seen it, and I've even probably at the very beginning used it incorrectly. So it uses all of the touch points of a club to kind of see if the club is working at its best. At its best. So, how someone can contact the club. Are you using branded materials? Do you welcome guests? Is the club easy to find? All of these touch points throughout the club. And when you run the program, you have to look at it through fresh eyes. You can't look at it as someone who has been a member of the club for years and years and years. So one of the questions is, are you using branded materials? And if you answer it, well, we usually do, but at this meeting, we skipped it because everybody here has been a member for a while, so we didn't need to have an agenda. But you write, yeah, we do. Check mark.
Right.
Usually isn't an answer. At that meeting, you didn't, so the answer should be no.
Right. That's a good point, and I never thought about it in that way.
And that's how some people, they're like, well, we usually do that, so that's good. Or, you know, is the room easy to find, whether it's a virtual room or a tangible room? And they're like, well, yeah, we can find it, but you can find it. Can someone who's
never been to that room before? Right.
Can
because they don't know to go down the hall and turn the right, then the sharp left that leads into the room because it's behind the water cooler, but it's very visible for everybody to see.
Right. Right. Or for a long time, my virtual club had my home address.
Oh.
And I couldn't change it for whatever reason. And so people were like, so you meet at blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, well, I meet there. Please don't show up.
Please don't show up.
Unless you would like to sit on the couch with my cat, and I'll meet in my office. So maybe ? But so utilizing that tool will help you to see some of the maybe blind spots that you as members have. And then you can work on improving those to bring in more members and help strengthen the club in areas that you maybe have become blind to that are
absolutely
important.
And I would say it would be a good opportunity. I know we're going on about moments of truth. I would say it would be a great opportunity to really focus in on those new members, because sometimes in our clubs, our veterans, and they're great leaders and they're committed and everything, but they just don't see those blind spots. And that's I am including myself in that.
Too.
And when I hear something, at first my response was like, well, no, why would they know that? Like, why would anybody do? Because at first I have to resist the urge to get upset because I'm so accustomed to it being that way, right? If I use a term DTM, right, and somebody that's just joining, they don't know what that means.
And it doesn't even have to be a new member. Assuming that someone knows something is one of my biggest pet peeves. And I've done it too. Just because someone has been a Toastmaster for multiple years does not mean that they know something about the organization or about the program.
Yeah.
We make assumptions all the time that might not be true.
And this is good leadership practice because this can be incorporated into your jobs or your own businesses, because sometimes, and I mean, bureaucracy busters, because we've got to learn to reframe and think about things that we say and actions that we do. And it's okay for sometimes to just somebody say, why do we do this? Oh, we've already done that. That's not a good answer.
I am allergic to that answer because we've always done it that way. I break out into hives. Can't. One of the things that I absolutely love to share, you cannot expect you from other people.
Yep.
Just because you are coming to the table with a plate that is made of china that is this big around and you can fill it with heaping mounds of food.
Right.
Someone else may be coming with a paper plate that's about this big around and they can fill it just a little bit. They are still doing 100% of what they are capable of doing. And that is still great.
Yes. Even if I don't even like what's on that plate. Like, this is delicious. You're just going to love what's on. Like, no, not really.
Not really. I don't like maple syrup.
Right. I just don't. What do you mean you don't like, man? I just don't like it. So let's figure out a way where we can get on the same accord. Now, Miss Jenny Lee, you've got a big keynote address coming up at the District 40 Conference, Saturday, May 2nd. Take me through your preparation process when you have these kind of big keynotes.
I will start Well, I start with what the theme of the conference or the event is.
Okay.
And I try to craft my message and tie in, sprinkle little bits of what that theme is. Because I'm always talking to the individuals who are putting on the event, and I want to know what message they want me to get across. I am huge on, as a facilitator, as a presenter, as the person in the front of the room, I'm always asking myself, what do I want the people in that room to think, feel, or do when they leave that room?
Right.
And if I can't answer that in my mind, I'm not doing my job as the person in the front of the room. So that means knowing what the organization or the organizer of the event wants out of it. It's looking at the event theme and tying everything together. So it is the evolution of leadership.
It is.
And when I first saw the image of origami cranes going up the side of the logo, you can ask the individuals in charge. My eyes lit up. We were in Philadelphia at the convention.
Okay.
And I looked and I said, I took Japanese in high school. I know how to do origami. If you think about origami and how paper is folded and it changes shape, and obviously this is the evolution of leadership and of a leader, and the folding and the manipulation of the paper to make that crane, I'm like, in my keynote, it's going to be interactive.
Good
so
stuff.
Everyone that is there at the event is going to be handed a piece of origami paper when they walk in. And you are going to go along on that journey with me. And you are going to walk out with origami from the keynote.
That's very cool.
That you are going to fold yourself. I am not going to fold hundreds of pieces of origami during my keynote. I'm going to fold one. You're going to fold your own with me.
I like that. And what you just said, you talked about the audience's reaction and the impact of your presentation on them afterwards. I noticed, and what I was very glad to hear was you never talked about you. I mean, of course, we want to be good speakers, but the presentation, you don't want your audience walking away necessarily thinking, oh, they're a good presenter. You want them walking away with what you told them lingering in their heads, and it has impacted their life in some kind of way. Yeah.
It has very little to do with me. I mean, obviously, no one is waking up that morning saying, oh my goodness, I hope that Jenny Lee is the worst speaker I have ever.
Right. Absolutely. Right. Right. We want to be the best we can be, but sometimes that means being the best we can be means being best for our audience, that they can have the optimum experience for attending or listening to what we have to say.
Right. And that also takes a little bit of the pressure off of you as a facilitator, as a speaker, as a presenter, whatever you want to call yourself, if technology fails. If you show up to an event that is scheduled for an hour and they come up to you and they say, hey, you know that we told you had an hour, but
got 15 minutes.
Only have 15 minutes. Or
what? This 30-page deck. What are you talking about?
Or I've had the opposite happen. They say, I know that we give you an hour, but we actually have like an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes. Can you fill that? I've had both ends of that spectrum happen to me. And I'm thinking,
well, I'm just going to
I can't juggle, but I can probably tap dance.
Right.
So here we go.
And I'm going to say this. Don't you ever ask a Toastmaster, can they fill up time?
I just make it extremely interactive in that case.
I just said, I promise you, the answer is always. I've never met a Toastmaster say, well, that wasn't enough time. That was too much. That was too much time. I didn't know what to do with the remainder of my time.
No.
I don't care if it's an hour. I don't care if it's an hour and a half. I don't care what it is. Like, oh.
Speaking of, District 40 is doing their job and is giving me every opportunity to interact and speak. That week am going Dayton, Cincinnati, Columbus. I am all over the state of Ohio.
Yeah.
So even if you are not coming to the district retreat, which if you're not, why are you not coming to the retreat?
What are you doing with your
should
life?
be there.
Right. What are you doing with your life?
You should be there.
Get it together. Come on. There's still time to register.
There is. And if registration is closed, I know people, you know me, we'll get you in. Sorry. We'll make it happen. However, if you are not coming to the retreat, there will be plenty of opportunities to see me, interact with me, meet with me. The schedule is on the District 40 website.
It is.
I am looking at it being updated every single day. Wendy keeps adding more events to it. Every time I look at it, I'm like, oh, there's something else, which I love. I told her, please do not give me any opportunities to sleep. Just give me a couple of chances to stop for some coffee.
Yep. Hey, again, back to my earlier point. You give a Toastmaster opportunities to speak, they are going to hold you to that.
Yeah. I just said that I wanted every opportunity to connect with the amazing members of the district, and she took that to heart, ran with it.
District 40 is an amazing community. I have been a Toastmaster, I think, for about 12 years, and the only community I've ever been in is District 40. And the people here, they just always find ways to astonish me. Like we were doing a little back talking. I think it was my second conference. I was sharing a room with a roommate, and it was like 8 o'clock at night. And I say, hey, I'm going down to get some ice. And I go down to get some ice, and I get me something, going to the hotel. There's a restaurant there, and I go in there because I want to get me something to eat. And just some people that they're not sitting far from where I go to get something to eat. And they say, hey, are you in District 40 for the conference? And I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, come on over. So I come on over. I look at my food. Sure, I come over. When I say we literally closed the restaurant down, we literally closed the restaurant down. And every single person at that table was a complete stranger to me. When I get back to my room, my roommate says, where did you go to get that ice? Those are just some of the great experiences that attending a District 40 or a district conference will afford you. It's a great experience.
I have a member of one of my clubs that his line, and I will absolutely borrow it this evening. He says, Toastmasters is the most unconditional love that you will find outside of a nursing home.
And it's true. It is. It is. Yeah. And I know I've spoken with some people about conferences or conventions, and they're like, well, I don't really know anybody. I'm a little introvert. I was like, you'll be fine. I promise you. You'll be fine. If you can't make friends here, no, I'm not going to say that. You cannot go to a conference for that full weekend, Friday, Saturday, and that Sunday, and say to yourself, I didn't walk away friends with somebody or good experiences with somebody. If you tell me you did, I don't know if I can believe you. I've never seen it happen.
No. And I'll be there. So I promise you already have a friend there.
Yep. Absolutely. So if someone is new to speaking and communicating, how would you, what advice would you give them?
Keep speaking. Keep speaking.
Yeah.
We were chatting a little bit behind the scenes, a little bit waiting for the time to hit. I have been in theater
Mm-hmm.
since I was 6. So I have had no real fear of public speaking until I had to truly start speaking as myself. I joined Toastmasters in 2007 when I forgot the name of my company at a networking event in front of my boss.
Sorry.
We were doing the whole 30-second elevator pitch at networking
Yeah.
tables, and it came to be my turn, and I forgot who I worked for.
Yeah, sorry about that.
And luckily, my boss was a Toastmaster, and there was another Toastmaster from a different club at the table. And after the incident, my boss and this Toastmaster came up to me, and he was like, I think maybe Toastmasters might be a good decision for you. I'm like, but I'm in theater. I'm on stage all the time. He was like, yeah, this is different. This is different.
It is.
And it was because if I'm on stage, if I'm a character, nobody's judging Jenny Lee. Nobody is making judgments against Jenny Lee's words, choices, actions, decisions. It's the character's choice. It's the character's words. It doesn't matter what happens because it's the character. In real life, everything is Jenny Lee's decision. Everything is a judgment against Jenny Lee, and that is terrifying. Even though no one is really making this judgment or against anything that Jenny Lee is doing. And we decided that going to my boss's Toastmasters Club probably wasn't the best decision because that would bring a little extra level of fear. So I went to the other individual's Toastmasters Club. And I think that if I would have gone to any other Toastmasters Club, I would not have become as engaged with the organization as I did. I went to that first meeting. They were phenomenal, warm at 7:30 in the morning on a Thursday. It was such a warm, authentic, genuine welcome. At the end of that meeting, I joined because my boss was paying for it. And I knew I was joining whether I wanted to or not. It was already decided, but I was. And at the end of that meeting, they said, most people give their very first speech at their next meeting. We have a spot available. You should just give your icebreaker next week.
They just tricked you.
They just tricked
you. And we do it all the time. I'm sorry.
And we
I
do it all the time.
I do it all the time.
Yeah. And I didn't know any better, so I said yes.
Why would you know? Why would you?
And then to even one up that, they said, and tomorrow starts this, it's like a weekend thing. It's this conference, and our club bought a couple of tables, so we have a couple of extra tickets. If you don't have anything going on this weekend, you should just come with us. It's in Cleveland, so it's only about 40 minutes away. You should just come up with us.
Yes.
And the person that knew my boss, he was like, I'll make your boss pay for a hotel room. Totally fine. And he did.
Well, that's awesome. That's great. Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, sure, I can do that. So I go to a district conference a day after I joined Toastmasters. I walk in, and the then district director walks up to me maybe 5 minutes after I'm there. And she's like, oh, I just heard about you. Someone from your club came up and said that you're brand new. They said, but I hear that you're in theater. I'm like, I am. She's like, I need someone to do a quote to just open the morning, like super energetic. You can just get everybody excited. Do you think you could do that? I'm like,
yes, I love it. I love it.
Okay. Like I had no idea what I was.
No idea. First of all, you don't know what this district
idea.
director person is coming
No.
up to you. You're like,
I have
why
no
is this
idea who
man
this
or
person is.
why are they even talking to me? District director, it doesn't make sense because you don't know what a president is. You don't know what an area or what a district. It doesn't make sense. But it's
I
like,
hadn't even given my
exactly.
icebreaker yet.
So you don't know any of this, and this person is like, well, theater kid person Jenny Lee Taylor. Yeah.
At the end of that conference weekend, the incoming, it was district governor at the time, but district director came up to me and said, hey, what are you doing this next year? And I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, well, I was just elected into this position. I can explain that to you later, but I hear you work in marketing. And I'm like, yeah, I work for a marketing firm. I'm director of customer service, blah, blah, blah. I'm a 20-something-year-old kid. And they're like, do you know how to write a press release? Yeah. And they're like, do you think you'd have time over this next year to write just a few press releases about Toastmasters in the district? And
I love this
we
story.
come to a couple of meetings. I ended up being the district public relations manager.
See?
And I hadn't given my ice
Right.
cream.
So,
and that
right.
is the best lesson, is to never say no. Say
I agree.
yes.
I agree 100. And I always tell, but what I found interesting is because you come to a place, and most people, if you're a part of something, you don't want to necessarily say no because you don't want to make it like you're new. When you're new, it's like being the new kid at school. It's like, hey, you want to come hang out with us? You don't want to be like, no, because then you're like, oh, they'll think I don't like them, right? So you don't know anything. You don't know what a public relations manager, you don't know what a district director, you don't even know what a conference is. You haven't even given a speech. And it's like, let's ask her, because more than likely she won't say no. And I love it.
Remembered the names of the people that I rode with.
Exactly. Exactly. So I love it. But to your point about the club, when we just talked about the moments of truth, it's never a bad opportunity to get somebody into a club. And if you're on your game, and you're always working to, because things fall through the cracks, but if you're always working to be at your optimal level, you never know what you're going to get out of that. So many years later, it's like an international director. Now, I asked you, what would you tell a new person about speaking to become better? But what would you tell an established person to help them become a better or more sharper communicator?
It is fairly common to feel maybe stuck when you get at a certain level, or like you've arrived, because it's one thing to go from here to here and feel like you've made a big impact. But if you go from here to here, it doesn't feel like a lot, and it takes a lot longer. So I think for individuals who are further along on their journey or more established, focus on one thing this year. Focus on one thing. Be super
intentional.
Very intentional
about improving one aspect, whether that's slides, whether that's body language, whether that's volume, whether that's topic, just one intentional item to get better with. I like that.
And share that thing with other people. That means every person who evaluates you. That means your accountability partner. It means your mentor. I have mentors all over the place. I think that everyone should have at least one mentor in their life, whether it be a business mentor, a Toastmasters mentor, mentorship is one of the strongest resources that we have inside and outside of Toastmasters. You should share that one thing that you are working on with these people, so that every time you get evaluated, that is something that they are evaluating.
They're holding you accountable for that and responsible for it. Yeah, absolutely. And that's a system and a partnership, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And again, to piggyback on what you just said, everybody should have a mentor. And I agree, you should have a formal mentor, but you can have mentors of people who don't even know they're your mentor.
Yep.
It's not their responsibility.
No.
You know it, because I remember it was a person I had. Matter of fact, David Hill, he's a past district director, and I was in a advanced club with David for a long time, and just one day I was like, yeah, such and such. I can't remember the conversation, and I said, yeah, you're my mentor. He was like, I didn't know that. Like, we never sat down and had a conversation about this. And I told him, you didn't have to know. I knew it, right? And that's all that matters. So yeah, mentorship is very important. And a person who you are a mentor with, they don't even have to know
Correct.
that you're their mentor. You just like how they move, how they speak, how they carry themselves. You come to them informally with questions. They think they're just answering a regular question, but no, like, you are getting feedback and everything from them.
But I will tell you that if you go to that person even later on and thank them for their mentorship, that may just change their life.
Hey, you never know. You never know. That's why, hey, be nice and be experiencing to every single one, because you never know something that you said, how it is going to impact somebody's life. You just never know. So you should always be good. Well, I got one more question for you, ma'am, and then I'm going to let you go. Or in the chat, if you all have any questions, please just type it in the chat. We would love to respond to you. Who is your favorite speaker or orator to listen to? You probably have a lot, I know, but let's sand it down to one person.
Okay. And this is going to be super personal. It's my husband. On our very first date, which was 6 hours long, at the end of that date, I looked at him and I said, have you ever heard of Toastmasters? And it wasn't because we had talked for 6 hours and he didn't make a point. It was because he was in a point in his career that he was maybe looking to make a change. He had some questions. I'm like, oh, Toastmasters would be a good place for him to maybe find some direction and some help with that. And then on our second date, we went on a double date with an older couple that they were mentors for me in Toastmasters. And then the three of us started speaking Toastmasterese. And after probably an hour, the husband of that couple looked at Todd and said, Todd, what do you do? And he went, numbers. I do numbers. But that gentleman and I were starting a club and we needed one more member. One more member.
I love
and
it.
Rich reached out to my husband and said, well, then boyfriend reached out to him and said, you should join Toastmasters. You might get some brownie points with your girlfriend. So he joined. But the way that he crafts his message, his thinking, he pairs logic with humor. He's given speeches on the zombie apocalypse, how to prepare for it. He's given speeches from Santa Claus to the elves on how to manage change. And he has a way that keeps me calm and keeps me creative and thinking. And he reminds me that there is good in the world, good in speaking, and the ability to be both logical and creative at the same time.
Love it. I love that you chose a person that was deeply personal in your life, and you didn't come up with just, another popular speaker out there. Very cool. Yeah. So we can learn. That's another thing for anybody out there working on communication. Sometimes just finding the most personal things in your life can resonate more profoundly and better, more effectively than anything from something that you think that a person is supposed to say, right? Yes. Sometimes a quote from a friend, a relative is more impactful than a quote from a president or an ambassador that everybody else knows. Because what did Forrest Gump said? Mama said, life is like a box of chocolates.
Very true.
Yep.
Very true.
Love it. Jenny Lee, tell the people where they can find you, ma'am.
Oh, goodness gracious. I am on LinkedIn. I am not really cool enough for Instagram. I am there.
You are. Trust me, you are. There's some
I am
uncool people on
on
Instagram.
I am on Facebook as well. We will share all of my handles so you can find me.
Awesome. Great ones. This was a great conversation. Thank you all so much for tuning in. And as I always like to sign off and say, please remember to be your best, to be inspired, to be great. Talk to you all later. Bye, everybody.